Resolving the conflict in eastern DRC has proven to be a huge challenge for international mediators so far. The Luanda peace process, an initiative by the African Union, was established in 2022, but fighting between the Congolese army and M23 rebels led to a diplomatic standoff at the talks. The initiative was once again relaunched in 2024 under the leadership of Angolan President João Lourenço. Last July, the DRC signed a ceasefire deal with M23 rebels, but fighting resumed shortly after. A series of mediation efforts followed, but again stalled. The Angolan head of state then quit his mediation role, nominating Togo's president Faure Gnassingbe as a new mediator. The African Union approved Gnassingbe's leadership in mediation, but analysts have questioned his credentials, while others think he has high stakes in leading the talks.
He can succeed if only he can demonstrate neutrality and also ensure that he re-engages the actors, all of them, not leaving any aside. Like in the past, Kinshasa was insisting on not talking directly with M23. If the Togolese president insists and ensures that all actors, not even M23 alone, but even other militia groups and organizations in Eastern DRC are brought on board, then he has some chances.
You now bring a man who has these democratic challenges, credentials in the recent time in terms of protest in his own country, a lot of criticism about how he has been leading the country. It speaks very little in terms of what the potential outcome is going to look like.
The Luanda initiative was later merged with the East African Community-led Nairobi peace process. A heads of state joint summit of the EAC and the Southern African Development Community directed the merger of the processes, expanding their leadership, saying they were critical in addressing the conflict. The merger was part of a renewed push, but experts, pointing to past failures by regional bodies, say finding solutions remain a challenge. Mediation efforts have now been taken over by Qatar and the United States. Qatar brokered a meeting between Rwandan President Paul Kagame and Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi. Both presidents agreed to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, but the fighting between the Congolese army and M23 rebels continued in parts of the DRC. A US-backed peace accord followed the mediation efforts in Qatar. Last week, the DRC and Rwanda submitted a draft peace agreement in Washington in an effort to agree on a final draft. Analysts say the economic interest of the US and Qatar could pressure DRC and Rwanda towards agreeing to a final ceasefire.
The unfolding event is teaching us a lot about peace negotiation in the recent time. At the heart of the crisis in DRC is also the issue of extractive profit. You talk about coltan, cobalt, and all those things. So it's important that whosoever is going to midwife that process has a very strong leverage. That is the reason why Qatar was able to notch an inch. That is the reason why it appears everybody is listening to the United States now.
The UN has warned that the ongoing conflict risks escalating into a regional war. Analysts say this can only be avoided if all sides are involved in the talks to identify the root causes of the conflict. The DRC and Rwanda will continue diplomatic talks later this month with the hopes that both leaders will sign an agreement in the United States in June. For now, people across the conflict-hit zones in the DRC are hoping that peace will prevail once both sides resolve their differences. Caroline B., CGTN.